everything's blowing up. Why say, okay, I want to start a podcast? Because why the heck not? What was your motivation behind that?
You have to create omnipresence. It's very important. You have to be everywhere, everywhere. And I mean everywhere. But when you could surround yourself with 5 successful people and you're the 6th person, you'll be the 6th successful person.
Looking at a bank account with $1 in it to stay hungry, how did you learn this? Is this something that you self-taught? You just brought it from inside? Is this something that a mentor gave to you? How did you come up with this, Josh? This is just brilliant.
Something I've always done is I've always put myself in these situations to teach myself and condition my mind that you could do anything you want.
Today, we are joined by the founder of the ultra successful mobile personal training franchise, GYMGUYZ. He's an author. He's a podcaster. His name is Josh York. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Mark, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you having me on here. Looking forward to it. And I hope people are ready. We're going to be giving out a lot of golden nuggets. That's
what I like to hear. And that's what you execute on a daily basis. So I want to go back in time to extract one of the golden nuggets from your beginning years, if I may. Was there ever a moment, a tough moment where you're like, it's not worth it, I'm on the wrong track, I just got to give up? Did that ever happen to you, Josh?
No, never. No. Never, no.
So why not? How'd you avoid that?
So look, a very important part to be successful is to develop your mindset. That's very, very important. That's number one. Number two, if you have a plan B or think that, oh, this is not going to work, it's never going to work. I could actually guarantee you that. So I'll save you the trouble now. If you say, oh, I'll start this and here's my backup plan, just don't do it. So the person who endures the most pain for the longest period of time is the person who's going to be the most successful. Trying to do something business-wise, starting a business is very, very, very painful. It's extremely painful. And at the end of the day, you just got to believe in yourself, See, the problem is, here's the problem. See, it's very hard to constantly have, consistency when someone's not like pushing you or motivating you, because it's just not going to happen. You have to create that in yourself. You got to be you got to be your biggest fan, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to love yourself and believe in yourself and know that no matter what, because people are going to constantly tell you all the time. You know what I used to hear on a regular basis? This was the stupidest idea ever. This was just the worst. It's so stupid. It makes no sense. And today we're the largest personal training company in the world. I've done what no one's ever done in the history in the franchise world. No one's ever been able to pull this off, ever. You got to believe in yourself, but without the proper mindset. And, you have 2 types of mindsets. You have a growth mindset, which is what you want, and you have a fixed mindset. And the majority of people have a fixed mindset. Can you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Yes, you can. But, can you become good at basketball or hockey? Well, you can, but you better be practicing a lot. Nothing happens overnight. It takes a long time. You want to be very impatient when it comes to taking action, okay? But be very patient when it comes to results.
So I love that. I mean, you brought him a lot of really great points there. And one of the points that really hits with me is that most people are just trying to avoid pain, but it sounds like if you're going to be a legit entrepreneur, a side hustler going full time, you need to actively look for the pain points, right? Because it's definitely not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult to get through that.
Listen, I'm going to give this is whatever else we talk about on here. This is going to be the number one most important thing. You should seek discomfort. I seek it every day. Things I do, people would never do. I jump in an ice bath every day at 29 degrees, every single day, even in the middle of the winter in my garage. I have a legit, got it from a hotel, a commercial ice maker that makes 400 pounds of ice. It sits in my garage. You want to talk about how crazy that is? Listen, people, my neighbors think I'm nuts. I love that. I take that as the highest compliment you could possibly have. And there's lots of benefits to it. I'm a big fitness guy. There's lots of benefits to it, but I jump in that thing like a hot tub. At the end of the day, you have to seek discomfort.
Yeah.
Like when I did my sprints this morning, no one in their right mind would do or push themselves the way I literally lose hearing sometimes in my ears. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I push myself so hard that I see, like, sometimes you see those spots. Yeah. I actually see the spots where I actually get dizzy to the point, like, I push myself to a limit that other people won't go. But when you seek discomfort, it allows you to get a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
mean,
business,
that's a key point from Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week is get comfortable with discomfort. And I got to say, jumping in an ice bath, whole body submersion, hats off to you because like I sprained my ankle. I put ice on my foot. I can only keep it on there for a few seconds. The
uh,
crazy, crazy impressive. So when we're going back to the beginning, have you always had this mentality of seek out pain, overcome pain, be positive? It's going to be tough, or is that something that you grew and established over time?
I was always different.
Hmm.
Never been drunk. Never smoked a cigarette. Never been high. Never touched a drug. Always used to just do different. I was always very different. Like I still never understood why I used to do this, but when I got into like fitness at the age of like 15, I used to bike to the gym. It was 4 miles each way, but I used to do it at 3 in the morning. Ask me why. I have no idea. I had nothing to do all day, but I used to do it at 3 in the morning. I'd bike to the gym and I stay in the gym for like a couple hours. I didn't know what I was doing, and then I'd bike home. I still don't understand why I used to do that, but I was just always very different. And look, if you want to be normal, normal doesn't work. It
Not right
does
now.
not work.
No.
Not just right now. It doesn't work at all. Normal doesn't work, period. If you're trying to be normal, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. Weird or different equals successful, and normal doesn't, because that's what most people like to do. Most people like to be normal. I don't like to be normal. See, I do things that other people won't do, so I can have things other people won't have. But the problem is with social media nowadays is everyone's always looking at everyone else. Stop looking at everyone else's journey. Your journey is going to be different. What maybe took someone 5 years, 10 years might take you 20 or 30. It doesn't matter. The key is to never quit.
Hmm.
We'd be here way too long if I shared stories of things I've gone through. Way too long.
Well,
But most people would just give up.
I
Go ahead.
definitely want to get into some of those stories, but I've got a question, Josh, because this is something I think about a lot, right? Watching Shark Tank, watching successful entrepreneurs build up their dynasties. At what point do you need to weigh your patience versus delusion? You see some people that are just producing content all the time, and it's just nothing is ever happening. And we're being told you're only one video away, you're only one client away. But at what point do we need to quote unquote take it behind the barn and shoot it? How do we weigh that out?
Look, it's I don't think you ever have to shoot anything. Sometimes you just have to pivot. You know,
Mm,
there's many people who are not very good at things. Like, I'm big into hip hop, and I love Eminem, and we use Eminem for an example. Okay, if you listen to like how he used to sound way back then, it's like horrible. Like I hated it. It was horrible. I wasn't into it. But then he's evolved, right? He pivoted. He connected with the right people. He got his foot into the right doors. He was around the right people. That's how you have to do it. You might not be onto it right away, but you got to make sure, obviously, you're going to be getting into something that makes sense. I get pitched with these ideas all the time to invest in, and some of them just don't make sense.
mm.
But at the end of the day, you have to figure out what does make sense. Are you solving a problem? Is there something out there already that doesn't work, the way it should work, and can you fix it? And are you all in? See, I still own 100% of this company. I've
Wow.
done this bootstrapped. Okay. So when you want to talk about pain, you have no idea what pain is. I've been every single week for years and years and years about to go bankrupt.
Mm.
Every single week for almost probably 9, 10 years. Every single week. I just want to make sure you heard that very clear.
We,
Like,
we got to back this up because that's a lot of people would give up, right?
of
Because
course.
it is so painful having to. It's just so much stress to wonder how am I going to feed my feed my belly? How am I going to put a roof over my head? Did you start GYMGUYZ as a side hustle, or did you just drop everything, get completely focused, and go all in?
I just literally just went all in, and I said, this is what I was already training people, but I
Okay.
just said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And that's it. And I just started by myself. And, I went through almost 50 trainers before I found one, because I was getting screwed left and right. I've had more lawsuits you could possibly imagine. I could go on and on and on and on and on for hours and hours. Honestly, it could take months in the stories that I could share of what I've been through. But see, the problem is people always look at the finished product. They never look at what it took to get there. And that's a very, very big problem. But you have to believe in yourself enough, and you almost have to see, entrepreneurship is like a game. It really is. Like, the way I look at it is like a game, because, I don't play video games, but back in the day, I used to love Mario Brothers. And, sometimes you get to a certain point of the level and you die, but you got to a certain point, so you can start at that certain point.
Mhm.
And then sometimes you had to start all the way back from the beginning. But the thing is, you always get to live to see another day. At the end of the day, people have to understand that. But the problem is people 90% of people do like 90%, maybe 95% of what it takes to actually get there. The last 5-10% is so hard and so painful that people just won't do it. They're not willing to do it. See, I always go for the gold. Some point people just say, you know what, silver's good too. I'll just take the silver. No, that doesn't work for me, and you got to train yourself to be this type of animal, because it's a very, very rare breed of people. And that's how it is.
Yeah, well, and that really reminds me of one of the main things that we see on the banner at your website, joshyorkgg.com. If you want to be extraordinary, you cannot live ordinary. You can't. You got to get extraordinary. You got to go straight to the pain. I'm with you there. Was there ever a particular point in the formulation of GYMGUYZ where you're grinding it out? It's really tough. You're trying to prove out a concept. Was there ever a point where something clicked and you're like, okay, we've shifted, we've pivoted to a place where this is starting to make sense. It's starting to go. Give me that story about when that light bulb clicked off, that something was really, really starting to happen.
I knew within 2 weeks, to be honest with you, because, I had, one of my clients, how this all happened was one of my clients, said to me, I wish you can come to my house. I just don't have any equipment. I was like, man, this is like one of those ideas where it's like, why didn't I think of this? It's so simple and so easy. I'll just get a van, stock it with all necessary equipment. And literally within 2 weeks, my vehicle, I was completely packed. Like I was doing 15, 16 sessions a day. And I was like, wow, there's really a demand for this. Like, this is crazy. And when you start looking at statistics of how many people actually have a gym membership but don't actually use it, the number is 80%. 80% of people have a gym membership and don't even use it. Okay. So when you start looking at this and start, looking at this from the perspective of like, wow, people need what? Accountability.
Yeah.
Human interaction's never going anywhere. Robots can't replace what we do. And now with COVID, without sounding insensitive, this has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to our business model. And it just kind of pushed us out even more. Like we got now like another another like 5 to 6 years head start ahead of where we were. And we were already heading in that direction, but it's just, consumers have changed the way they buy. Behavior is different. And, the pandemic's not going to be here forever. Like people think they're going to be wearing masks the rest of their life. You're not going to be wearing a mask the rest of your life. I promise you. But, when this does pass, things are going to be a little different, and, our business model has really benefited from that. But, at the end of the day, people make too many excuses and like to cry and complain and say this doesn't work, or, oh, COVID-19 did this to me, or, oh, whoever's going to be the president did this to me, or just focus on yourself. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of horrible things going on. But at the end of the day, when you believe enough in yourself and you focus on yourself, no one's going to stop you. It's just very simple. I started this in 2008. Probably the worst economical time you could ever start a business in, ever, during the whole entire recession. And I took off like a rocket ship because I don't listen to what anyone else says. I listen to what I believe. That's it. And if you want to make a good investment, you could probably go online, probably spend $25, $30 and get a nice size mirror and put it up right in an area that you can stare at every day and look at it every day, because that's the person you're up against. No one else. It's you against you. Simple.
Yeah, I think once you start taking responsibility, everything changes, because you stop consuming, you start creating, you start building, and it's really hard to get to that point, I think, but it is a very, very important mindset shift. And I think this is something that you're talking about quite often on your podcast, Josh. That's the Fuel Your Drive podcast. Hey, Mark here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let YouTube know you're enjoying this video. Let me know you're enjoying this video. All right, let's get back into this episode. So I want to talk a little bit about that and kind of jumping around a little bit. But Josh, help me understand here. You've got a mega successful franchising gym business. It's blowing up during the middle of COVID, where all the traditional gyms are closed down. You can't go work out. So we're going to come to you. We're going to bring the full experience. Everything's blowing up. Why say, okay, I want to start a podcast? Because why the heck not? What was your motivation behind that?
So just to clarify, we're not a gym; it's a personal training business.
Okay.
But you have to create omnipresence. It's very important. You have to be everywhere, everywhere. and I mean everywhere. But when you could surround yourself with 5 successful people and you're the 6th person, you'll be the 6th successful person. If you want to surround yourself with 5 people who are not successful and you're the 6th person, you will be the 6th person who's not successful.
Mm.
So I said, you know what? I could start getting more information out there, more content. No, I never had any of this available. Like what's available now is amazing. Like I didn't have any of this when I started this. I would have been listening to it every second just to learn and get better and just get sharper and just keep growing. You have to be a student every day. You have to be willing to grow. You have to be coachable. You have to understand you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I still don't have all the answers. I'm learning every single day. I will read books that I believe I know everything in the book. I'll read the book anyway, just to get one nugget out of it. That's how you learn.
Mm.
Okay. I wasn't good at school. Okay. I'm more successful than any teacher I've ever had in the career of all my schooling. I guarantee it. And they all told me I would do nothing with my life. I hated school because I didn't apply myself. I didn't find it interesting. And when you're sitting in a class about calculus, okay, which you're never going to use in your life, and someone's telling you you're going to be successful, look, you never want to take advice from someone who hasn't done what you're looking to do.
Mm.
Okay. So number one, I started a podcast because number one, when you surround yourself with great people, that's more successful people in your pocket to help you grow. And you're also doing a great thing. And I really believe that I do things all the time for people. I don't even want anything in return. Serving is a very important thing. And I do it all the time. I've done it for years and years and years. And I've always done it. Just be a good person. So that's part one. And part two is you want to listen to people who've done it. When I was sitting in school and the professor's telling me, you need to learn this so you can be successful. I said in class one day, I'll never forget it. And everyone started laughing. And the professor wasn't very happy, but it's the truth. I said, listen, I'd love to see your bank statements. I want to know how much money you have in your bank account because you're telling me I'm going to be successful. I don't know what you make a year, but I know what I'm going to be making a year. And it's definitely not what you're making a year.
Mm.
That's like asking me, okay, because I'm blessed to be bald and beautiful. But if you talk to me about a head of hair, don't take the advice from me because I'm not the guy to give it to you. That's like trying to ask someone who's overweight how to be fit. So the way things are set up, it's really kind of screwy, like you should be learning about how to build relationships in school. That's the number one most important thing. You should be learning about, how to be able to, scale a business, how to grow it. How do you hire someone? When do you know how to hire someone? The hardest thing is you want to grow to a large company. How do you go from just being a small company to a large organization? I've been on the Inc. 500 now for 4 years in a row, franchise 500, 5 years in a row. That's very hard to do. Very hard to do. How do you do it?
Yeah.
They don't teach you that.
It's that commitment. It's that commitment to continuous learning. And to me, it sounds like that's the main driver behind starting your podcast. Again, that's Fuel Your Drive, is to educate yourself and educate others, right? Because if you want to learn, you learn from the best. And, when you've got some clout, you've got some experience growing a business like you have, Josh, I imagine it's very easy for you to get great people and great insight out of them. Really, really impressive. So I want to talk a little bit about how you've grown this thing, because a lot about building business is getting people to believe in you and believe in your mission, believe in what you're doing. What was it like for you to get your first franchisee on board with GYMGUYZ?
Yes, that's a great question. No one's ever actually asked me that question, and I've done hundreds of these. So it's funny. I got approved for franchising the last week of December 2013, and we started selling in 2014. And right before I had my first child, my wife and I took a trip to Cabo. I love Cabo. And I love brownies too. And I'm on a buffet line at night, and I must have had 30 to 40 brownies in a plate. And I ate all of them, by the way. And this gentleman comes up to me and he's looking at me. He's like, wait, you look like that and you're eating all those? I was like, listen, I love brownies. I work out. I want to enjoy my life, and I'm on vacation. We start talking. Next thing you know, what do you do for a living? And I told him, and, he's like, well, my son would love this. So now, like, I'm in business mode. I run up to my room. I grab my iPad. I'm FaceTiming with his son, and obviously I didn't know much about franchising at the point because, we just got approved, just got my documents. I didn't understand everything. So I called up someone who I connected with, someone who I reached out to before I even started to align with that person so I can learn. They were walking me through the steps. 2 weeks later, we closed our first franchise.
Wow.
And it was a very big deal. We sold 14 locations to this person, and we just took off like a wildfire from there. Just like a wildfire. But how did I do that? Number one, I'm the most optimistic person you're ever going to meet in your life. My energy will literally it's probably dripping on your computer screen right now or through your phone, whatever you're listening to this right now, it's probably just dripping and you need to wipe it off. If you don't have energy and you're not confident, you're not going to convince anyone. If you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to believe in you.
Mm.
You have to be relentless. And I have an energy about myself, and I'm just very confident in myself, and I believe in myself, and that's how that happened. And from there, just took off like a rocket ship.
Yeah, I certainly love that. And if there's one thing that I could take away from that, it's eat more brownies. Brownies do the body good, and it will get you a huge franchise. It will get you huge franchise deals. But I want to dig in a little bit more into this because this is something I think that side hustlers often encounter is you're never off. You're always on. You're always working. So you're even on vacation, probably eating with your wife, having a nice conversation, and then you end up getting into a business conversation. Has that been challenging for you, navigating both your interpersonal relationships and your constant need to be on?
Never.
Mm.
Never.
Is, is,
There's some things I've done strategically for on purpose. Like, so obviously I have a computer at home. I have a laptop, but I don't have a desktop, and I don't set up my laptop. I put it in my closet. It's stored on the top shelf, and I never touch it.
okay.
I really need. I literally never go on a computer in my home. Obviously, with the phone nowadays, you're able to operate, but I never go on my computer. That's number one. I put my office very close. My headquarters here is very close to where I live, and I actually put my headquarters where I'm going to be living next because I want it to be in that same area, so I can have access if I have to. But if you want to be successful, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. I'll tell you that right now. But you have to figure it out, how to manage it. You have to be good at time management skills. My time management skills are as amazing as they can be. But that's also why I wake up at 3:44 every morning. That's why I'm up till 11:30 at night, and I do it over and over every single day, 7 days a week. I don't stop. But if you want to be successful, you got to put the work in. There does come a time where you're able to sit back but it's about, I like to work every day like someone's trying to take it from me. Okay. Something I did early on in the beginning days of business is when I started my bank account, I asked the bank if they would open up another bank account for me with no minimum balance, because I just needed that account. To this day, I still have that account. It's got $1 in it. And every morning, I haven't missed a morning in over 13 years. I stare at that account and visualize in my head that I literally only have $1, and I need to make sure that I bring in money so I can keep growing. And I do that every single day. I haven't missed a day ever. Visualization is a very important component to success. I have the power to manifest anything. And I mean that.
That is so, I mean, that is such a powerful thing because staying hungry is tough. It's difficult, but there's always someone to come eat your lunch. Josh, that's just really remarkable. I kind of want to kind of dive into this a little bit more deeply because looking at a bank account with $1 in it to stay hungry, how did you learn this? Is this something that you self-taught? You just brought it from inside? Is this something that a mentor gave to you? How did you come up with this, Josh? This is just brilliant.
So it's just something I came up with. It's like, for example, not to toot my horn, but I'm in very good shape. My body is in tip top condition than you can imagine. Like, you see every single muscle defined from my abdominals, just very defined. And something I've always done, I've never touched a drug before, but I've always believed in my head that I've taken steroids. Always. I've always believed it in my head. I've always believed it. I always believed it has made me stronger. And I do the same thing in business. I create like this alter ego that I believe things, and I have the power to bring it to life. And people always will say to me, well, you're so good at this and you're so good at that. And I'm not saying this in a cocky way. I'm just telling you what people will say to me. But it's because I believe that. And I believe that I can do whatever I want. And I believe that I can achieve any single thing I want to achieve. And something I've always done is I've always put myself in these situations to teach myself and condition my mind that you could do anything you want. It's very, very simple. And actually this one, no one taught me. I've been teaching a lot of people about this, and I'm actually about to start my new school, which is called Fuel School. Everything that you should have learned in school. And I'm only going to be selecting a small amount of people when I do launch this in the next couple of weeks. But, I'm going to start teaching people what they really should have learned in school and how they're going to grow and how they're going to scale their business and how they can really make things happen, know? And, the problem is it's very hard to do what I do because most people just fold like cheap chairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
it's hard when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And if there's one thing I've heard you say kind of consistently throughout this conversation here, Josh, it's this belief in yourself, this self-actualization. It is so easy to get tied up in what other people are doing and why you stink and why you can't do it and why it'll never work and your girlfriend, your mom, everyone's but that ability to stay positive and believe in yourself, super powerful to do. And I gotta say, when you talk about this fuel school, I'd like to just ask you another question about this. This is something that I think everybody kind of recognizes that school doesn't teach. School teaches you how to pass a test. It doesn't teach you how to be successful in life, right? Was there a particular reason you mentioned that you have a child now? Is there a particular reason that you feel that now is the time for you to start focusing on this fuel school and helping other people?
Listen, there's always time, and I like to help people. This makes me feel good. No one ever helped me. People used to slam their doors in my face. I try to answer every message I get. Sometimes it gets difficult, but I do get back to people just because no one ever paid attention to me, and I used to hate it. And I used to. It only inspired and it made me more driven.
Yeah.
When someone will sue me, or someone tells me it's not going to work, or you're a joke, I'll never forget. So, him and I are now become pretty close. But, I was just recently on Gary's podcast, Gary V. And, it took me 4 years to get on Gary's podcast. And I'll never forget, about probably 5 years before, I had this person who was on board here, and he laughed in my face and said, "Come on, man, you got to be realistic. You're never going to go on there." I was like, I'm going to go on there. You'll see.
Challenge accepted.
And obviously he hasn't been here for years. And when it got posted that day, he saw it, and he didn't comment, but I know he saw it. And you know, you're never going to meet a person like me. It's just very simple, and I'm just being very real with you. And I know you're feeling my energy. I'm sure you've talked to many people, and I don't care what anyone else has to think. I believe, and I know that no one's going to be better than me, and everyone else should be believing that in themselves too. I don't pay attention to what everyone else is doing, but when you believe it, you can make it happen. But it takes time. It takes time. But when I said in the beginning about being patient with action, but be patient with results, no one takes action. You know how many speeches I've done over the years? I've spoken in front of 10 people, and I've done one in front of 5,000. And I always have people that come up and talk to me and say, "Hey, can I pick your brain?" And I give out my card. To this day, you know how many people have called me? Zero.
Wow.
Zero. Because everyone talks. No one takes action. Okay? So when someone else is trying to get to the next level, you're going to have someone like me that's going to eat you, because I'm not going to waste time. I won't sleep if I don't have to. But that's the type of mindset you need to really make things happen.
Love that. Be a person of action. I actually had David Meltzer on my show a few days ago, and he mentioned something that is contrary to what I've typically heard, in that if something is going to take 2 minutes or less, just do it now. Just do it now. Because it's so easy to say, I'll batch it, I'll do it all later, and then it never gets done.
That's my boy, David. You told him you having me on, or no?
I did not, but I'll definitely send him and his team. He's great conversation.
He's a good dude, David, man. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Absolutely. So, Josh, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Before I let you go, I want to get into some rapid fire. Listen, ladies, gentlemen, side hustlers, after hours entrepreneurs, joshyorkgg.com. Go check him out. And a couple quick rapid fire questions here for you. Josh, what is a must-have business item that costs less than $50?
Must have business item that costs less than $50. I would say would be that's a good question. Less than $50, a must have business item. My calculator.
Okay, dig it. Got it. Got to have it. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, Josh, what would you say?
I would say, listen, what you're about to, embark on is going to be extremely painful. I wouldn't change a damn thing. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't change anything, because you learn from your losses, and you should be willing to fail. It's a very good thing. I always look at losses as victories. So I would just say, listen, you're about to embark on a very painful journey. It's going to be extremely, extremely painful, but just stay with it, baby. Just stay with it. And that's exactly what I would have done anyway, but that's what I told myself.
Love it. What is a must-have subscription?
A must-have subscription? Spotify.
If you woke up in the morning and there was only one task you could do for the day, what would you
One task I could do for the day, jump in my ice bath.
do? Somehow I knew you were going to say that. Final question here for you, Josh. If you had a billboard message that could reach millions of people, what would you put on your billboard?
GYMGUYZ, obviously. Number one in home personal training, baby.
Love it.
We bring the workout to you.
Dig it, love it. You can get everything that Josh is doing at gymguys.com or at joshyorkgg.com. Josh, thanks so much, brother.
Mark, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.